if I try to kind of talk about carbon neutrality or net zero, like the role of construction sector in moving towards net zero, there are many aspects to it. For example, we cannot only talk about operational carbon. Operation carbon means whatever energy we are using once we occupy the building, and then the emissions therefrom. Like if you are purchasing electricity to power your home, and you're looking at ways and means by means of which you want to reduce the emissions, buy more energy efficient equipment, energy efficient, say building envelope, air conditioning, etc. So, but now the dialogue, if you really want to be net zero, then you have to shift the emission dialogue to much before stage, which means that even the energy that goes into construction, the materials that we use, because the embodied carbon what we talk about, that is also huge. And two major construction materials that go into buildings, which is steel and cement, they are two very very energy intensive materials, which means that if you have to move towards net zero in the construction sector, we also have to actively look at ways and means how we reduce usage of those materials, as well as alternatives in those materials which consume less energy. And in this respect, there is some industry movement in the steel segment, cement segment, to move towards lower carbon, but still a lot of work has to be done. So that's one aspect. I think now we have to look in a very deep way. When I'm talking about the operational, what I spoke about, so there has been a lot of movement in that. But here, what I have seen is that particularly in buildings that get occupied by people who are constructing it, there there is an inclination towards green and sustainable buildings, because now the industry understands that there is a direct benefit of constructing green. But if you really look at the segment of construction, the majority happens in the residential segment, where a builder will build it and somebody else will come and occupy. There, like we are seeing much less traction. Like builders mostly are looking for making green, and a lot of greenwashing happening, and looking for incentives, though we do not think that green building should be incentivized. It pays back in its own self. So residential segment is something I think which needs to be kind of far more active. And the other issue what we see is that during operation, suppose a builder is making the house and giving it to the resident welfare association or the owners. Now many times, even if the builder has say given something green, the residents will not know it, and they do not operate it. I have seen personally, like, say builders even installing solar systems, but residents are not able to use it. So they go and sell it off. So that entire, philosophy or intent is gone. So I think there is a need for like end-to-end solution and also maintenance. Like what you say, that sustainability has to be sustained over the life cycle. Then only we can get to net zero. I think they are very good initiatives, but if you really see green bonds and their uptake, that is still a niche. It is still it doesn't give that kind of yield in comparison to the normal bonds. So that awareness level of people on how do they really monitor or quantify the benefits, that is missing. And what I see is most of these green bonds etc are siloed towards specific projects which are say renewable energy projects, so which are siloed. So when you talk about green building in totality, they are integration of many things. It is not only about solar, it's end to end solution. So for that, there has been lot of maybe initiatives by banks, like State Bank of India has a subsidized funding, retail financing. But you will see that, and I have also worked with banks, so what they say is that there is no way to like monitor them, or no way that they can kind of verify that they are actually green. So though we have lot of it, so I think we need to build the capacity to be able to even build properly and monitor and quantify that what savings has been accrued. So in this respect, I think we need to have a very strong monitoring mechanism, because what you build is not enough. How you operate it and how it is giving long-term benefits, that is important. I mean, I can ask you a simple question, like if you take a survey of so many, say, green projects that have maybe, installation, say, of rainwater harvesting system or sewage treatment plant, so you can go and see actually how many of them are operating. uh, so that is the crux of the thing. So I correct me if I'm wrong. The SEBI requirement, it is only disclosure. It doesn't set targets. So which means SEBI does not tell you to be carbon neutral. That's the wish list. Maybe companies want to do, but SEBI requirement, it's merely a disclosure, which means you are taking stock of what you are doing and disclosing your carbon, maybe the emissions. And even in terms of methodology, right now there is a lot of work that is happening on the ESG front, on unifying the methods, etc. But still, it is a little long way to get there. So yes, definitely it's a good initiative, but again, people have to follow through it. And my worry is the greenwashing part. There are so if there is no checks and balances around this, and it just remains on paper, and we keep talking the same thing over and over again. Like last 30 years I'm in this segment. Yes, of course, a lot of awareness has happened, but we simply try to push the target to next 10 years, that hamara time to beat jayega. So it's like that again. This is a very controversial thing. It is something that I don't care, I pollute, somebody else will pay the price for it. And in definition of green buildings, if you see globally, in US, there is a new definition that has been brought out by the US federal department. They do not acknowledge carbon offsets. I'm talking only of the building sector. So carbon offsets is not acknowledged there. If you look at SBTI, which is one of the major standard setting body that is giving methods to help you quantify that whether you are meeting the Paris goals or not, that does not acknowledge carbon offsets. So it is, yes, India is bringing that out. I think probably since we have committed to such a hefty emissions reductions target, and we have to grow as a nation, right? So we cannot stop our economic activities, construction. So it's a easy way of doing things, but global bodies, particularly in the construction sector, they do not acknowledge carbon offsets. See, firstly, it does not cost more to make a green building. Typically, when we do the costing of a project, we look at capex only, right? And if you also, another thing is, if you really look at the capex, again, land prices was vis-a-vis construction cost, land price will be much higher, and people do not put a ROI on that. So if my ROI calculation is only based on capex of the building, then I'm not capturing the entire value chain. So I think in construction, if you have to define benefits of green, if you do this entire life cycle analysis based on all the costing, it will be cheaper, because of the simple reason that your installed capacity comes down. I mean, if I talk about a commercial building, I'm not talking about residential, because typically they are not fully air conditioned. If you are making an energy efficiency envelope, uh, you are using better glass, you are using lesser glass area, insulation, you are going by the energy code norms, you will find that at the construction stage only, like when you're designing it, your load on the building and the installed capacity of your air conditioning, they can come down by 30-40%. So you're actually able to reduce a lot of cost and the capex if you do that holistic analysis, which currently that awareness has to come up. And I won't say that people don't do it. Most of the community which I mentioned earlier, who design and occupy the building, they follow the complete LCA method, and they see the benefit of it. So it is not correct to say that it costs more. For the home buyers, I mean, if they're sensitized, they will buy. You see, if I take example of the residential sector, which for which the Bureau of Energy Efficiency has the appliance labeling program, which is mostly applicable. If you look at energy efficient, star labeled ACs or refrigerators, those are mandated. You cannot actually have non-star rated air condition. That's legally mandated. So if you really see the trajectory of that, that has come a long way through awareness, and people now understand. So that kind of a campaign or that kind of awareness needs to be generated, which is possible through regulation, through awareness, and so many other things. So home buyers, I feel, if they're sensitized, they will definitely ask for green buildings. Definitely, and over the years, I think the National Skill Development Mission also has different vocational programs. And also, there are corporates who are coming forward. For example, Saint Gobain, who is a glass manufacturer, they have a glazing academy, right? A glass advisory board. And they actually train people, fitters and all, how to install high performance glass. So, like that, I think training to do the correct treatment, right construction is very, very important. Otherwise, things will not work also. For example, I'm giving a simple example. Suppose we talk about putting insulation on roof, which will stop the heat from going in, or putting, maybe cool roof, etc. So if that is not done properly, with proper waterproofing, proper taking care of the construction, it will not work. Yeah, it will crack and water will seep in. It will have so much of construction problems. So finally, at the end of the day, people will blame that this technology doesn't work, but actually it is lack of construction capability. So I think green jobs, green skilling is happening, but compared to the volume that we construct, we need much more.